panelists and, of course, the gentlemen are here to help us, decipher on the subject of the day. This is as to the political position of deputy governors in particular, and of course this by a large extent will flow over to other deputies, talk about the deputy president. And Mugo James here is asking, kindly ask the panelists where Kawira Mwangaza's impeachment leaves the current deputy president politically. I don't know why they asked that, but perhaps you will help us understand some more. He goes ahead to say Kawira Mwangaza had all the time to make peace with his oppressors, to impeachment, and did not redeem herself. Too bad for her. And perhaps, that should say that maybe there can never be an about turn. Maybe the other, upper courts are going to uphold what it is that was declared. So we come back to you, Mheshimiwa. You were saying something briefly before we proceed to Honorable Francis.
I was saying the issue of deputy governors is a largely a political issue. And it's a political position. It has political responsibilities. Yeah. Because regardless whether my counterpart here wants to say that deputy governors should be flower girls, remember that when an impeachment motion comes before the Senate, it also looks at you as having a political responsibility. And I want to point to the case of the deputy governor of who was recently impeached from Kisii. He had a political he was impeached on political grounds. So whether he wants to say that you are a flower girl or not, you still hold responsibility. Right. If anything happens in that county, you are still the deputy CEO of that county. So the responsibility, you cannot have the entire blame and have no responsibility. Okay. And those are the questions that need to be answered. But most importantly, the working relationship between a governor and their deputy should be synonymous with that of a CEO and a CFO in a private organization. Because the governor has very important, he has the sole executive mandate of the county. Okay. But he also requires a hand in terms of running the day-to-day activities of the county. And most of those, some of these, whether they are political, administrative, or governance issues, then the deputy governor should be given the responsibility to be able to articulate and provide that assistance. Interesting.
Honorable Francis, we come to you, and we just want to understand why you would not even imagine, or you would not have wished to argue that perhaps you as the deputy governors that are on board have the mandate to justify the existence of this particular set. And if we were to talk about the amendment of the Constitution legislatively, or perhaps through a referendum, what is this one thing that you would want to see adjusted in that clause that speaks about the deputy president, the deputy governors?
I want to be first and foremost request you. My colleague is very sharp. But he belongs to a political organization that is very intolerant. Okay. Okay? So don't give him a lot of time. Because anything would. Kenyans have a survival for the fittest. Unless we believe him as a person. Okay.
I'm here in my capacity
as the deputy governor
of Muranga.
Okay.
And through UDA. Now, the reason I'm saying so, it is unheard that, I don't belong to a school of thought where I come here and say this. And tomorrow, when I come and Mokwa and Stephen are not here, I say another thing.
Change of tone.
President Nelson Mandela once said, any leader who changes his position depending on situation and who he or she is dealing with, that is not a leader who can lead a country. Okay. Or an organization for that matter.
Are you insinuating that...
No, what I'm saying is a part of why this administration is in place is because there was that perception, very strong perception, that the deputy president was being misused, mistreated. And the then deputy president gave a commitment on a national platform that because of what I've gone through, I pray to God to give me this seat. nobody else will ever go through that under my administration. Where is Gachagua today? That is a story for another day. So, since he belongs to that organization and is committed to it, please don't give him a lot of time.
Okay.
But let me come to the point. But that is on a light note. He's very sharp. He's a very sharp DG. Now, why would I think of scrapping DG's position as opposed to protecting to Kenyans
and justifying
why it should exist? From where I sit, there are so many various reasons why we have a devolution that seems not to be working for Kenyans. Yet, no country on earth, and I've done research for over 5 years about what I'm about to speak about, on how state building succeeds, on how countries transform. And I've never come across any part of the world that has transformed, that has developed, even petro-states, without going decentralization, what is in Kenya today as a devolution. That is something this country must think and rethink on how to finance, on how to structure governance. Now, when it comes to governance, I don't agree with my panelist, Dismas, because as much as we appear to be flower girls, that is not the case. Words of Mother Teresa, she said, you do your duty, I do mine, but together we can do great things. Now, a governor, focused governor, will engage the deputy. And the two leaders will respect one another. Bearing in mind, the overall mandate of the county rests with the governor, irrespective of whether the type or how you perceive him or her. That is the person mandated to run the county. And you are there to assist. Now, is that what is happening across the counties? That is not the case. Why is it not the case? The following. Number one, this political competition that arises from what Stephen said about during the elections. Maybe I'm running for governorship and my boss is also running. And then my party does research and sees if we allow Mwangangi and Wavinya to run separately, then these older people, they have a strong candidate and will carry the day. What do? We sit them down, they agree, and we mediate on how we will do once you people you are in power. And sometimes even they go to an extent of even putting it down in writing. Once they are in power, the whole thing changes. Because there is what is in the Constitution and there is what we agreed separately with the leadership of the party or leadership of the professionals from that county or the rest of the leaders from that county. That is one of the major sources of conflict.
And so how then do we move
now
to make sure
secondly,
that
Secondly, some people, I might be the governor, and I have a serious and aggressive deputy. So
a deputy you have known throughout the process, the campaign process, the electioneering process.
Yes. If one William Ruto was not aggressive and focused, he will not be the president of Kenya today. Take that one to bank. If he started to take tea in Karen and not to engage Kenyans from across the country, I can tell you he's not going to.
So it's in the right place of a deputy to be aggressive.
It's a part of the political freedom for you to associate.
My friend, politics is about interest. If you have no political capital, I have no business doing with you. Okay? And that capital might be know-how, might be mobilization skills, might be what you know, and it can aid in transforming the county, those kind of things.
So how do we have deputies that are strong enough to manage their activities and ensure that we safeguard as well the governor's office so that, again, we do not have a rift that eventually will cost the taxpayer?
It is simple. Please know your role, know your place, engage, communicate.
Isn't that what this must
yes.
say?
Actually, that is the point I was making.
Right.
Let me tell you, without communication, everything will go south.
Okay.
Without understanding who you are as a deputy, then you will fight for non-existence issues.
Okay.
Immediately as a boss, I see you as a threat. What happens in the county? I will direct my people, because as a governor, I'm the appointee of all these people, and if at all my deputy brought some, you will know how to deal with them.
Okay.
And you will find at the end of the day, you are out there and probably fighting from outside when you are an insider.
Interesting.
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
Francis has crystallized the problem, and I'm glad that earlier on you mentioned the 48 rules of power. The first rule says, never outshine your boss. So if you are a deputy, whether you're a deputy president or a deputy governor, indeed a deputy anywhere, the moment you outshine your boss, be ready for bare knuckle politics. So if you're going to outshine your boss in any forum, be it in the corporate world, be it in the political space, you must be ready to fight hard battles. Then number two, you must conceal your intentions. Okay. Everybody knows that a part of the reason why you are a deputy governor is you're waiting for a vacancy, and there are several reasons as to a vacancy will occur. Then you rise to the top position, because it's unlikely that an ambitious politician would even find his way or a way to a room where people are negotiating who is going to be a running mate. And you remember it's Masinde Muliro who said that if you don't have ambitions, you have no business being in the political space.
Okay.
But you can have those ambitions and you tamper them, you conceal them, if you care to read the 48 rules of power. Everybody knew that Fatuma Achani at some stage wanted to be the governor. But you know, she said, for these 10 years, I'm going to remain loyal to the governor, and when he's done, I'm going to declare my interest. She secured interest. Everybody knew that Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi wanted to become president, but for 24 years, he was visited with mischief. As a vice president, his vehicle is stopped by policemen, he is harassed. You know, people literally, insulting left, right, and center. You recall he was referred to as a passing cloud. But those people were surprised that this passing cloud was actually static for 24 years. Now, the way my two friends here are talking about, it appears that their bosses are not threatened by their ambition. We said earlier on, we have 47 counties in Kenya. We have 47 deputy governors in Kenya.
Right.
But I doubt whether an average Kenyan can name 3 deputy governors. Yes. Because a normal governor today sees the deputy on national TV, they become nervous. Believe you me, this morning, there are a number of governors who had to take medication when they saw Isaac Mutuma being sworn into office, because they saw themselves in that position.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
how do we safeguard this position then of the governor, such that we do not have, such jitters, and again, as well, safeguard the position of the DPs?
Well, I think before Stephen comes in,
we don't have much time.
Yeah. Before Stephen comes in, I would volunteer a suggestion from applied politics, not from theory.
Okay.
Allow the governor
to run the show.
Don't have a running mate for him. Allow him to go to office and appoint a deputy governor.
What about the taxpayer who is paying this deputy governor? Are you just telling the deputy governor to just sit there for the 5 years and we actually do not get to see value for money as taxpayers, just so you do not have this trouble?
Unless now we are going to adopt the American model of Elon Musk and Dodge, there's going to be, we have to prepare for this thing. Because, the question people ask themselves is, what is the cost of having an election in a county?
Okay.
It's going to disrupt a lot of activities. So you'd rather have a deputy governor. But my two friends, I did not suggest that we behave like flower girls. No. I suggested that you don't make your boss nervous.
Okay.
But when you make your boss nervous, be prepared not to have a car, be prepared not to have an office, be prepared to be fired while on air, be prepared for so many things.
Or the other way around, where, of course, they are sent to power and their bosses are out.
Yes, you can, but then, a clever deputy governor can actually work in cahoots with the cartels and special interest groups and kick out the governor from office.
Okay.
You know, the conversation from Didmas here.
I want to say one thing.
Yes.
No, allow me to.
You know, in the opening.
We'll come to you. Let's allow him some 30 seconds.
During opening statements, I listened to our friend so well. And you know, he said deputy governors should be waiting for their bosses to die. You know that?
No. I said no. I said vacants.
What I want to say.
I did not say that.
No. That was off the cuff.
Success of Governor Wavinya Ndeti in Machakos is my success. Our failure, from a very sincere point of view, it should be my failure. I should always, even as I go to pray, I should also pray for her and pray that she succeeds. But from that point of view, I think there is a term here we need to keep on repeating, which my colleagues have overemphasized. Relationship. Okay. Because irrespective of what you put in the constitution,
if there's no,
as long as two of you cannot find a chemistry to work, I will tell you there will still be challenges.
Interesting.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, as you come in, what are your expectations out of the broad-based government now that you have adversely been accused of being part of this government? And of course, a part of the 10-point agenda is that they would want to strengthen devolution better.
You know the after the MOU was signed at KICC, the following day, Secretary General for ODM clearly states what it was and what it was not. And from a political coalition perspective, the president is doing what he knows best. The president, because those are his, you know, when you are the president, you have the sole executive mandate. And so does the governors in the county. You have an executive function, and you exercise those executive mandates and authority as you see fit, because you have been given that responsibility by the people of Kenya through the constitution and how you got into office through an election. And so you cannot falter the president. And for me, as a deputy governor representing the good people of Murang'a, through my governor, Dr. Kangata, my expectation haven't changed of the national government. Okay. My expectation will always be the strengthening of devolution, that we get the shared revenue from the national government every month without fail. Because once that doesn't come, then the counties are not functioning.
And what would you say about the
because the devolution
so far?
Yes.
The status of county funding.
The status of the county so far is...
and funding in particular.
The funding has usually been a problem, because we have to wait for Treasury to release funds, and you wait and you wait and you wait. You are 2 months down the line, you haven't paid salaries, you haven't done this and this. And so you have to be innovative at the county level to provide services.
So there's a lot of
from what I'm expecting from the national government is very simple. That strengthening devolution is about strengthening the services provided by the county government. And these are very simple. The people of Murang'a don't care whether there is a broad-based government or not.
Okay.
What they do care about is whether they get medicine in their hospitals. What they do care about is whether the children who goes to every primary school, every ECD center, get a cup of uji, or even get adequate education. What they care about is that when next week that we are going to provide fertilizer, we are going to provide maize for them to be able to get into production, that they do get those services from the people from the Department of Agriculture.
Right.
Those are the expectations of the counties. And whether my colleague here wants to say that I am part of the broad-based government, he realizes that one of the most important units to any governor and any deputy governor is the devolved function of a county, which is devoid of the political manipulation of the national government, except for the part of disbursement of funds. But the executive functions and administration in governance, the national government already does policies. Okay. And when they do policies that provide us with problems, for example, the problem we have with SHA and Taifa Care, I, as a deputy governor, has a responsibility to tell the national government, we have a problem here. And that is not criticizing. It's about raising a pertinent issue that needs to be fixed.
Okay.
And that's the place where I need to see our government move forward.
Okay,
yes.
Fair enough. Gentlemen, we only have about 4 minutes to be out of this space. You are deputizing a woman. 7 governors, female governors,
That is a very nice question to tackle.
Sorry, you want to talk about
He has not done a serious justice to that question.
All right, so, well, the 2/3 gender role, concern, you want him to respond to that?
No. The earlier question about the bread-based.
Well, he has attempted...
No. You see, you cannot say
in the best interest of time, let's just save this. What does this mean?
Came into point with the chapati.
You see,
the 2/3 gender rule, what does it mean? The Kawira concern that we are, having right now. And what are the chances that she would successfully challenge this?
I want the wish of Meru people to be upheld.
Okay.
I have no interest whatsoever in Meru,
Whether
other than the interest of Meru people.
The people.
Today, a very strong message was sent. Today, a very strong message was sent.
They come across as happy?
If there was any split in Meru today, you could have seen maybe half of the leaders or 3/4 of the leaders not attending that function.
Okay.
But by the virtue that almost literally everybody, save for one, wasn't there, then that is a very strong message. From where I sit, I stand to be corrected because I don't come from Meru. But what we expect from my mother and other women in the village.
Yes, as we sum it up.
They call this blood-based government.
Interesting, your view.
I go further to ask them why. They say we still have unaccounted youths, Gen Zs. And many of them we buried. Many of them, we buried them in Kamba soil. Today unresolved. Justifying blood-based. And the government which God allowed to run this country has never attempted to address who killed them, who murdered them, who abducted them.
We put a disclaimer on that blood-based. Does it have to be that bad?
No.
We understand, of course, some of the concerns need to be addressed. But
we shed blood. We shed blood to have this new constitution, right from multipartyism. Kenyans shed blood to have our independence, our freedom. We did not expect post-2010 constitution to continue with that kind of... and when I listen to them, I think I tend to some extent, agree with them. So what we expect...
The people of Machakos as well then would be looking at you as the leader to ask these questions, to give us answers to some of these questions, because while the leadership, you want to view it at that top level, reality is that it's a 6-tier affair where we have the president,
there is a question politically. There is a question politically, and I want him to remember. In the last administration, there is a statement that the current president and the then deputy president said that you have a government that is behaving like opposition and opposition that is behaving to be in government. I don't want to expound on that more than it is. But you see the science in the broad government and how they look as we speak. But in my parting shot, I would like to address only one issue. The young people of this country knows that this nation is theirs. And they are not waiting for anybody to give it to them. And what they are seeking is the responsibility that they are given by the Constitution to go and cast their ballot for the people they feel that they should lead them in 2027. What I would wish the young people of this country to get into the framework of mind in leadership is that they shouldn't see Stephen Munania as the deputy governor, but they should be able to see my ability as a leader in providing those services. And so should they see every other leader, so that we lose the popularism where we have politicians as celebrities, but people who govern with integrity, with dignity, for the purpose of the people of this country. And I would wish the young people of this country to take that mantle and go to the voting with that in mind. Not to see Stephen, but to see the ability of Stephen to deliver for them, to see the ability of Dr. Kangata to deliver for them, for the people of Murang'a.
Thank you so much. Let me take this feedback. So just in case there is a question, then we can respond to it. Yes. Mr. Director. Let's see what they have to say. I think we are copy-pasting leaders instead of delivering services to citizens while twisting the acts and clauses in the Constitution. Yes. And of course, all right, I believe we should amend our constitution so that when a president or a governor is ousted, they should go together with their deputies. We are operating on bad lands, and currently because the deputy might choreograph to guillotine his master in order to occupy, and that is mine, I think. His space. Wakili Chris says that. Daniel Buluma says, I even can't remember the name of my deputy governor. Sasa sijui kama hawa ni ghost workers ama well,
I think that's unfair characterization.
That law that allows deputy governor to assume office automatically after impeachment or death should be abolished. The automatic rule has done a lot of harm than good in our country, because as soon as the governor is sworn into office, then the deputy starts plotting how they can become Governor Antonio Rodriguez.
Yeah, allow me to make my final remarks. Right. And I go back from your first question, that we must encourage integrity, innovation, and meritocracy, both in the public service and in the public and in the private sector. And that's why a country like Singapore has made a lot of progress, Korea and Japan. Now, when you're talking about people fighting meritocracy, it's not just limited in the political space. Like, for instance, you may have followed the case of Nairobi Hospital, where the chairman, Dr. Chris Bichage, is in trouble for insisting on meritocracy. In fact, one can even venture and say that meritocracy as a subject or as a philosophy or as an element increasingly is becoming an endangered species. Right. The reason why most governors are happy with incompetent people is because they know that when you're...
As their deputies?
As their deputy, they know that they can dance as they so wish and nothing would happen.
You cannot say that in your closing remarks. That
well, unfortunately, you just said so.
No, you cannot just say that in closing remarks. But
you see that...
You see, look at the resumes of deputy governors across the country. You're going to find the most learned professors, doctors, across the country who are well-landed and well-functioned, who came from the private sector.
Therefore, this argument is neither here nor there.
The argument is neither here nor there.
But the incompetence has got nothing to do with academics. Incompetence has nothing to do with academics.
What maybe there lacks is what we call a little bit of political wisdom and diplomatic relationship in both the case of the governor and their deputies. Because remember, what holds leadership together is most largely not your qualification in school, but rather your ability to bring out the best ideas from the people who work for you. And if you cannot be able to do that, that becomes a problem for you politically, in governance, and in service delivery.
And perhaps we need to talk about the electorate, because then if they're going to look at the choice of the governor, for DP, don't you think they as well have the capability through the ballot to say that perhaps we have looked at the academic credentials or perhaps the operations of this DP, and we do not think that this is a pair that we want to actually have on board, and therefore is it an undoing of the governor or is it an undoing of I don't know what, or maybe the electorate who...
The average voter in Kenya and all over the world is emotional and irrational. They abandon logic on the voting day. Yeah, I mean, look at the case of the US. They knew that the reason they were kicking out Biden and Kamala Harris was because of the cost of living. Now you have these tariffs that are occasioning the cost of living, but a majority of them still say Donald Trump is our man.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Yes. One, what we expect for devolution is, Azimio, we were promising 40 to 45% of the total revenue of the country to go to devolution.
Yes.
Our friends, Huda, here, they were promising 30 to 35 because they said we were ambitious. I'm humbly asking them, please, 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 do even the bare minimum of 30%. Number two is...
Mheshimiwa, we have to close.
Yes, from the bread-based government, Kenyans especially Gen Zs and anyone who does not possess the ID, please go for it and ensure you have a voting card.
I think Mheshimiwa here had a note that he had to popularize the name bread-based government before he came to the show.
Okay, so here we go.
Yes, and El Chapo.
Thank you so much. And kindly let Deputy Governor Mwangaza explain to Donyo Sabuk residents how their revenue benefits Kiambu County and how using a public funds to develop that area is like a misappropriation of funds. Sorry. Unfortunately, we don't have time for that. I admire what Deputy Governor Mwangaza had to say. A Deputy Governor, just like the impeached Deputy President, is the main issue that is destabilizing devolution. National government is not spatial over ambitious deputies. And I am Honorable Bonke, youth leader, following live from Machakos. Pass my greetings. Gentlemen, we have to close at that point. We have immense feedback, but unfortunately time would not allow for us to take them all. We appreciate that you could be part of this broadcast this evening. You can always continue the conversation on our social media platforms. Gentlemen, of course, appreciating you, Dismas Mukua, political risk analyst. Asante sana for the great insights. Honorable Stephen Munanier, the Deputy Governor, Murang'a County. Asante sana. Last but not least, the Deputy Governor of Machakos County, Honorable Francis Mwangaza. My name is Linda Alela. I also appreciate the presence of John Kinuthia, who was here earlier on, of course, to articulate on the Vietnam-Kenya concern as Tunduta, and as well appreciating my sign language interpreter, Catherine Simaloi, and the entire team that has made the broadcast a success, and you back at home for keeping us company. Do have yourself a lovely night ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.